Today I will talk about probability. Probability is a way to describe how likely something is to happen. It helps us to understand uncertain situation and make better decisions. In this presentation I will explain basic ideas such as event, sample, space, probability rules and conditional probabilities. I will also show sample explains to make everything clear. Okay, probability basics. Probability is between 0 and 1. 0 impossible, 1 certain. Most results are between 1 and 0. Probability is impossible to probability is 0. If something is certain, the probability is 1. Most real-life events are somewhere in the middle. Probability helps us measure and compare how likely different events are. Events. An event is a result or a set of results. Example, ruling a number 4. Events can be simple or complex. An event is something that can happen in an extreme experiment. For example, when we roll a dice, getting a number or bigger than 4 is event. Events can be simple with only one result, or complex with many possible rules. Sample space. All possible outcomes together. Sample to decide 36 outcomes. Use sample space to count probabilities. Okay, sample space. The sample space is a list of possible outcomes. For example, when we roll to decide, there are 36 different outcomes. When we know the sample space is because easy to calculate probabilities currently. Equal likely outcomes. Outcomes with some change, fair, decide or fair, coin cases. Formula. Uh, favorable or total. Favorable or total. Okay, equal likely outcomes. Sometimes all outcomes have the same change. This is called equally likely outcomes. For example, each side of fair dance days has 1 out of 6. In this case, probability is a number of favorable outcomes divided by total outcomes. Probability rules overview. uh, addition rule, multiplication rule, complements the rule and conditional. Probability has a few important rules. There are addition rule, the multiplication rule, the complement rule, and the conditional probability. These rules help us to calculate probabilities in different situations. I will explain each rule step by step. Addition rule. For A or B at probabilities. If overlap, substitute interpreting. Example, A or B. P equal to A and P. Okay, the adding rule helps us to find probability that event A or event B happens. If the events cannot happen together, we simply add their probabilities. If they can happen together, we subtract the overlap. This rule is useful for many real-life problems. Complement rule. Opposite event, not A. Useful when not A is easier to find. The complement of an event means opposite of the event. For example, if the event is it rains, the complement is it does not rain. The rule says probability of an event is 1 minute to probability of the opposite event. Conditional probability. Okay, conditional probability change of a if already happened, written or shows how event affects each other. Um, Conditional probability tell us the change of event A when we already know that event B has happened. It is written as P and A. This idea is important because many events depend on each other. Multiplication rule and independence. If independent use it for joint event. The multiple rule helps us to find the probability that two events happen together. If the events do not affect each other, we multiply their probabilities. If they are dependent, we use conditional probabilities. This rule is important for joint events. Concatenate tables. Table of categories and counts. Find unconditional and conditional probabilities. Good for survey and real data. Uh, a continuous table helps us organize the data into categories. We can read the table to find sample. Probabilities can continuously probabilities. The tables are common in stochastic surveys and research. Bayes rules sample, a way to update benefits with new data. Use P. Common in tests and diagnostics. Bayes rule helps us to predict probabilities when we get new information. For example, doctors use it to understand test result better. It is one of the most important ideas in statistics. Examples. Sum of two DIC people event or with overlap. Practice helps to understanding. For example, when we roll two dice, these of the sum of 11. Of 11 happens only in two cases, 5 plus 6 and 6 plus 5, so the probability is 2 out of 36. Another example is choosing a person from a group using a table. In other examples helps us to understand how we use rules in practice. Mutually exclusive events that cannot happen together. Example, ruling second and 5 at same time. Mutually exclusive events are events that cannot happen at same time. For example, getting a 2 and getting 5 on the same dice roll cannot happen together. If events are mutually exclusive, their joint probability is equal to 0. And the conclusion. Probability helps with uncertain situation, learning sample, space, rules, and conditional tools. Practice with exercise and data. To conclude, probability helps us to understand uncertain situation and make better choice. We learned about events, sample, space, important rules, and examples. With practice, probabilities and becomes easier and helps in many areas of life, such as skills, business, and everyday decisions. Thank you for listening.